What is going on, everybody? Psych Perspectives Geo Fox, and I'm on break right now, so we're gonna talk about the ongoing issue with Job Corps. Somebody had left a comment asking my opinion on the situation with Job Corps. So in this video, that's my intent, is to kind of go over what's going on at the federal government level under Trump's second term, under Trump's administration, and how these cuts at the federal budget have led to programs and services that many people use and depend on being slashed and cut. So the federal budget cuts can shut down Job Corps. Okay, so I just want to bring this up, right? Because a lot of people, it just needs to be said. A lot of people thought fat meat wasn't greasy in this past election cycle. And a lot of us are, suffering the consequences because people think everything's a joke. And as a lot of us are seeing, it ain't a joke. Okay? Like, it is what it is. So, I'm going to talk about it. Job Corps locations that are closing in June due to Trump's administration making cuts at the federal level. President Donald Trump's administration issued a phased pause in operations for Job Corps centers across the United States. Job Corps operates a federally funded educational and career training program for low-income Americans aged 16 to 24 years of age. The centers have been instrumental in helping many Americans learn job skills and enter careers in construction, welding, culinary arts, and more. All 99 centers have until the end of the month to close down. All 99 centers across the country. Now, this is very odd coming from the same administration, the Republican parties, the conservative grand old party, and Trump and his administration, when they're constantly talking about job growth and young men need to work, and they want to add work requirements to Medicaid, even though 64% of people who currently are on Medicaid already work. And then this is the same president who already started the year off by having mass layoffs at the federal level by gutting programs that funded millions of jobs around the country. And now you're getting rid of a job training and placement educational program that services low-income people from ages 16 to 24, literally making it where people won't be able to get into construction, welding, culinary arts, and other career fields. Yeah. Why does this matter? The Trump administration has made numerous cuts to federal agencies, including the Department of Labor and the Department of Education, to curb what it sees as a waste of funding and fraud. Now, keep in mind, how is making cuts at the Department of Labor a waste? Excuse me, but people already aren't able to find jobs. And then the jobs that are available typically are low-wage service economy jobs where you are not going to be able to successfully take care of yourself, let alone raise children, take care of a family, save for retirement, let alone have health insurance, have retirement plans, have any real type of benefits, because most low-wage service jobs, McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart, the list goes on, don't offer benefits. And if they do, they're shitty ones. And they already don't offer decent wages. And arguably, non-service economy jobs also don't offer decent wages or living wages. Okay? So let's talk about it some more. Without the Job Corps location in operation, tens of thousands of students attending the program might not be able to graduate, and fewer low-income Americans would be able to enter different industries. If you want to know what Job Corps is, The Job Corps program originally was established in 1964 as a free service for low-income Americans and has been paused at Donald J. Trump's seek to meet his budget proposal goals, aka it is a wealth transfer. He is stealing from low and moderate income Americans. He is stealing from taxpayers to give tax cuts and benefits to the rich and the wealthy and the corporations. It is literally a wealth transfer. They're stealing our money. They're stealing our wealth to fund rich and wealthy people and corporations. It just needs to be said at this point. Okay? Now, here it is. This has been a program for 61 years. It was established in 1964. It is 2025. So for 61 years, for 6 decades, we have had these programs. Okay? Now, which locations are closing state by state lists? If you're in the state of Washington, Cascades, Curlew, Fort Simcoe, Columbia Basin. If you're in Oregon, Tongue Point, Springdale, Timberlake, Angle, Wolf Creek. If you are in California, Sacramento, Treasure Island, San Jose, Los Angeles, Inland Empire, Long Beach, San Diego. If you are in Idaho, Centennial, Arizona, Phoenix, and the Fred G. Acosta location. I'm going over each state. I'm not going to go the whole states, but you can go on the website, and I'll have the link to this website in the description box below, so you can see the locations of each state that are being closed, because all 99 locations are being closed by the end of June. I'm in Michigan, and my hometown, Flint, Michigan, Genesee County, they're closing. Detroit, they're closing. So it's just things like that, you know what I mean? Now, the Job Corps locations are closing after years of financial trouble, according to the Department of Labor. Quote, the Job Corps program has faced significant financial challenges under its current operating structure, the Department of Labor said in a statement. In 2024, the program had a $140 million deficit, with the number predicted to reach around $213 million deficit in 2025. Which, you know what I'm saying? That is a $73 million increase from 2024's deficit of $140 million, allegedly. An internal review also found many reports of sexual assault, violence, and drug use amongst the students enrolled in the program. To participate in the training, students were required to pass background checks and undergo drug testing. However, problems still arose at centers across the country. Quote, a startling number of serious incident reports and our in-depth physical analysis reveal the program is no longer achieving the intended outcomes that students deserve, U.S. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer said in a statement. How much does Job Corps cost? Job Corps has historically been offered free of charge to eligible low-income students between the ages of 16 years old to 24 years old. Quote, this is another example of the administration's attack on the poor. Drew Powers, the founder of Illinois-based Powers Financial Group, told News Corp. Quote, it is dizzying to see proposed Medicaid legislation with stringent work requirements while simultaneously cutting programs like Job Corps, essentially taking away an outlet to obtain the education and training required to get said work. Now, a lot of people see this as being unfair. All Job Corps centers have to be shut down by June 30th. So they basically have 3.5 weeks to shut down. It is June 4th when I'm filming and recording this video. 3.5 weeks from now, they have to be shut down. Now, once again, a lot of people thought fat meat wasn't greasy. A lot of people decided they weren't going to vote in the general election. A lot of folks don't vote in the primaries. They didn't vote in the midterm elections. People in general, you have over 50% of eligible voters who do not participate in voting. Then you have, of the other 49% or so that do participate in voting, a nice portion of them are voting for Republicans, another portion is voting for third party, and another portion is voting for Democrats. So you end up having a situation where people don't vote, end up screwing over everybody in the process, including themselves. And then it's also not fair that we're forced to vote between two political parties. Now, granted, there's independent, there's third parties. However, in the U.S., let's be honest, there are two dominant political parties. And typically, when you're voting for third party, you're essentially, because of the two-party stronghold, you're essentially throwing your vote away. It is what it is. It's not going to be counted towards much shit. Because of the stronghold of the two political parties, Democrats, Republicans, Democrats. So a lot of time, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, the American Taxpayer Party, there's so many different political parties. However, they don't have the power or the funding that the two strongholds, Republicans and Democrats, have. I'm just going to keep it real. Okay, and then you have people who don't vote, or if they do vote, they only vote for the presidential. So they completely leave out senators, Congress, their own local state governors, lieutenant governors, state attorney generals, their own municipalities, city councils, school boards, board of trustees. People do not vote the way they should be voting. It just needs to be said. And at the same time, when you look at the options available to us, it's not really that great. So I'm not going to sit up here and make it seem like I don't get why folks don't vote, or I don't get why people vote third party, because I get it. And yet, this is what ends up happening. Now you have tens of thousands of low-income people who are literally losing shelter, literally being put back into homelessness and facing homelessness. On top of the fact that they're not going to be able to graduate from the programs that they were in Job Corps. They're not going to get their certifications. They're not going to get their job training. They're not going to get their job placement. So where are these 16 to 24-year-olds going to go? Not to mention, like we stated, they're trying to cut Medicaid and Medicare across the board on top of enforcing a job requirement. In a situation when we are in a recession, on top of us having tariffs, and the wages and cost of living never seem to reflect, on top of the fact that you literally are taking away opportunities for people to get jobs. So what do you think is going to happen? More people are going to find themselves homeless. More people are going to find themselves jobless. More people are going to find themselves struggling to make ends meet. We're just creating more issues. We're not creating any solutions. And like I said, 64% of the people on Medicare and on Medicaid already work. And the fact that people are on Medicaid with jobs should be appalling, because that just further proves employers are not offering benefits like healthcare insurance, like 401ks, 403bs, pensions, retirement plans. They're not offering short-term or long-term disability. They're not offering PTO, paid time off, sick time, and they're not paying living wages, which is why people are eligible for Medicaid in the first damn place. Despite the fact that they're working, over half of the people that are working are on Medicaid. 64% of them already have jobs. So what is a job requirement really going to do here? If the job that you're working doesn't pay you enough to live and doesn't offer benefits any damn way. Again, I do see it being an attack on the poor and the working class. And I also acknowledge there have been reports of sexual assault, sexual abuse, violence, and drug use at Job Corps. It just needs to be said. And I also acknowledge Okay, if there are deficits, you do need to figure out what's going on and you need to fix the problem. That doesn't mean cutting entire programs. That doesn't mean booting people out into homelessness. Okay, that might mean reconstruction, restructuring leadership, restructuring where money is going and how it's going to be spent in that program, but to completely gut it and then have it done by the end of the month in 26 days, 3.5 weeks. That's wrong. I'm just going to say it. It's wrong. And you're going to see a lot of people suffering, not to mention the people who work at the 99 Job Corps centers across the country. They're losing their jobs. This is another mass layoff. You know what I'm saying? And then you're looking at the places. When I look at my state of Michigan and my hometown of Flint, we already don't have a lot of job opportunities in Flint. And then the job opportunities that are available are low income. You know, you're basically you're lucky to get $13, $14 an hour at your average job that's being offered in Flint. Maybe 16, 17 an hour in Genesee County. But what the hell is $13 or $17 an hour going to do for you when rent is $1,000 plus a month? Okay, like when a grocery trip can easily be $300, $400 depending on how many people you're feeding and what you're buying. I mean, we haven't even talked about utilities and other bills and responsibilities like you having children that you may have. So again, what are people supposed to be doing? Then they're losing their health care because you're laying them off of their job while simultaneously telling them that they can't get on Medicaid or Medicare because they don't have a job. And while also gutting and cutting it significantly. So they might not even have the option of even getting approved for Medicaid or Medicare. Welcome to Trump's America. Welcome to the Republicans' viewpoint of how things should be ran and operated. I'm just going to say that. You know, fat meat is going to be greasy and it's going to clog up your arteries and it might lead to potential death. And as we are looking around, a lot of the decisions that people made November 5th has come back, November 5th, 2024, has come back to bite people in the ass. And I'm also going to say this because you already knew I was going to get to this part. Let me go on and give me a little cough. Excuse me, sorry about that. You already knew I was going to say this. It was only a matter of time before I did say it. A lot of people thought, ooh, trans people, I don't like you. You shouldn't exist. Ooh, women, you are second class. Men are better. You need to go back and cook and clean and give birth. Ooh, I don't like immigrants. Ooh, I don't like black people, brown people, people of color. Ooh, I don't like disabled folks. You had all of this transphobia, homophobia, biphobia, misogyny, classism, racism, xenophobia, etc., ableism, etc. And that's why you voted, because you voted as a bigot, thinking that you were going to hold back particular demographics of people. And unfortunately, you ended up throwing your own dumbass under the bus. You thought my intersex trans ass was going to be losing all of my rights, and here you are losing your health care, losing your food stamps, losing your housing, losing your Pell Grant, but you did all of that because you didn't want trans people to go to the bathroom or have health care. Well, look at how that worked out for you. Again, you end up screwing yourself over. I'm going to keep saying that because a lot of y'all closed-minded, bigoted, and dumb as hell. And now you're sitting up here struggling. And you thought I was going to be the one struggling. Or you thought only trans folks or only women or only queer folks or only immigrants or whoever you don't like. You thought they were going to be the ones struggling by themselves. Little did you know you are broke. Most of us are poor, and working class. Most of us are low income. So a lot of the things that you thought you were going to, stick it to the man. Ooh, you queer folks, you women, blah, blah, blah. Little did you know, you're also a broke ass. So what are you going to be doing? How is Johnny in the trailer park going to be living now? How is Erica with 3 kids on food stamps going to be living now? Again, a lot of y'all got to start thinking. You think you're getting over on one group when in reality you're throwing your own community under the bus. You're not doing shit. You're sitting up here thinking that Trump is going to support you. Trump don't care about your broke ass. I mean, damn. He don't even want you to have housing. He don't want you to have health care. He don't want you to have food. But you think he's going to care about you. So if you wanted to know what my 2 cents was on the Job Corps situation, I think it's horrible. I think it's wrong. I don't think it should be happening. Now, if there's issues around sexual assault, sexual abuse, drug use, we need to address those problems. If there's issues around deficits in the fiscal funding, we need to address those problems. We need to restructure. We need to go back to the blueprint and see what we need to make changes on. But to sit up here and make it where now people are going to be homeless, because a lot of people lived on campus at Job Corps. Where are these people going to live? Where are they going to go? A lot of them don't have families, don't have support systems. So where are they going to go? You know, and then people done spent all this time in the program, assuming that they're about to graduate from the program with certifications, with job opportunities, job placement, and now they're losing all of that. Where are these people going to go? That's my 2 cents. More information can be found in the description box below.